Let's Talk Small Business, the real talk, no BS podcast for business owners and entrepreneurs who want to grow and actually enjoy the ride. I'm Mitchell Wilson. Let's get into it. Wayne, welcome. Thanks for being here. Let's talk business. Just to introduce yourself to start off with, Wayne, the director of Pretty Sweet Lighting. Look, for context, I'd love you just to, introduce to the audience what Pretty Sweet Lighting is, where you're located in the world, and we'll get into it.
Sweet. Well, yep, my name is Wayne Pretty. I'm the director of Pretty Sweet Lighting and Electrical. We're an electrical company with a bit of a twist. We also do lighting design. So we do bespoke lighting design for mainly architectural homes. Yeah, so we kind of started off, well, it's our 12th birthday next week. So
next week, we just talked about that. So
Ooh, yeah.
you've made it in the way of business.
I didn't think I was going to make it in the first 3 years, but we're here now. So.
I do talk about, there's a stat that only kind of like 30% of businesses make it past or up to that 10-year mark. So this is a celebration that you got that far. Yeah,
never thought I'd have like 8 to 9 employees, so it's definitely taken me to a place I didn't think it was going to take me, which is awesome. And it was pretty unplanned up until the last little while.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's go all the way back. And how did Pretty Sweet Lighting start? Like, where did it all begin?
Well, I was an electrician by trade, and I actually started a company called Wayne Pretty Electrical. I had there was a friend of mine in town called Gavin, and he owned a big cafe at the time that we just finished doing the fit out on, and it was quite a cool, I didn't do the design on it, but it was one of the coolest jobs I'd worked on thus far in my kind of electrical world. And I was right into it. There's really cool lights, and it was kind of this and that, and he really pushed me to, because I was so enthusiastic about his job, he kind of pushed me to go out on my own. So I did, and then I think that I actually got some government free kind of advice.
Mm-hmm.
And I met this bloke. I only met him once or twice, and he was just like, "You've got to have a point of difference. What do you like?" And I was like, "I'm really into kind of the artistic side of the lighting and things like that." And he's said to me that, why don't you do that? And pretty much I shut the business down, signed up for a university course that took about 4 years, and got my degree in lighting design. And while I did that, I went back to work for someone else, and he was a great boss, actually. He kind of let me do my studies and work for him at the same time. It was I was running another business at the same time with an ex-partner, so I had a fair bit on. And pretty much, 4 years later, I walked out of that job with a piece of paper and started Pretty Sweet.
So how long had you been an electrician for before you made those changes and said, "Hey, I want to go out on my own," and then stop to study further?
I think I was an electrician up for about 5 to 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I was an aluminium boat builder before that, strangely enough. And then I had a little bit of business background, but not a lot. An ex-partner of mine owned an optometrist store here in Wanaka.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she was a smart lady. She taught me a lot as well. It was about 6 years experience in the trade, but I kind of wanted to step away from electrical and really get involved in that lighting. Electrical world kind of, especially residential electrical, kind of didn't bore me, but I couldn't see myself doing that forever.
Mm-hmm.
So ever since we got the light, like I'm dealing in the lighting all the time, you kind of get that bit more of an artistic flair that you can throw around the place and really create and make things what people really want them to be, I guess.
Which I guess positions you in a market where now you're doing the higher end architectural builds.
Exactly. Yeah, we're working on some of the bigger projects in our region, and lucky enough, people trust me enough to let me play with their designs and make spaces look cool.
Because I'm not sure actually whether we confirmed. Whereabouts are you in the world?
We're down in beautiful little Wanaka. So we don't have to venture too far work-wise out of the Southern Lakes, which is a great factor. Like most of our jobs are maximum 20-minute drive from the workshop.
Mm.
So, and things are really booming down here, and they seem to have been since I started pretty sweet. So I guess I got pretty lucky there.
Yeah.
Where yeah, the building trades down here have just gone from to extreme to extreme to extreme,
Well,
and it
that
hasn't.
region of the world is like pretty much a playground for some of the rich as well.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. There's a lot of money floating around down here, which is a very good thing, I think. We are super lucky that um, that a lot of people are moving here because it's such a beautiful spot, and they want to build beautiful homes and they want beautiful lighting.
Now, you were, I guess, not a young student, classified as a young student when you went to study because you'd already been working so many years.
Yep,
How, I mean, you need to be pretty committed. How hard was that to go back to study and work at the same time?
that was one of the hardest times in my life. I have to say, I was full time work, full time study, and kind of partly helping out with a business. Yeah, it was one of the tougher times in my life, to be sure. I was pretty driven though. I really wanted to get this done. I really wanted to get to a point where no one could take that away from me. I had a bit more qualification than the fella beside me, and I fought and I fought and I fought and I got there and I actually passed. So I didn't really do that well at school.
Oh, congrats! Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess that came from, I'm just presuming, a desire to do it. Rather at school, it was probably, we're all just messing around.
Yeah, it
But the
was a
fact that you
want to do it.
wanted to
Yeah,
do that.
I wanted to do it, and I wanted to kind of do well, I guess. And yeah, and I was interested in it, to be honest. Like it was the same as electrical, like your electrical trade. There's a lot of maths in that, and I wasn't really a big math magician when I was young. And all of a sudden, once it starts making sense and you know what it's for, you're a bit more driven and a bit more. You're like, oh, the penny kind of drops. And it was the same in the lighting. Like I think one math equation I did in that final exam was 20 pages long, and yeah, and I don't know if I got it right, but I passed.
I
Maybe just that.
with when you mentioned when you're studying, you're working, also you were helping part time on the business. What type of business was that?
It was the optical store that we
Right,
owned.
of
So
course.
yep. And she ran the business, but I was kind of working weekends in there and helping her with a bit of HR and things like that. Yeah, so it was many moons ago, but so there was a fair bit going on. There's a fair bit going on now too, but you know,
You mentioned before that you're working for someone, a boss who was pretty good, allowed you to do it, that you worked with other entrepreneurs. How much how much would you say that you learned off those people in terms of bringing to your own business? Do you think you could have done it on your own as well without having those mentors in your life?
I don't think I would have had the confidence. I don't think that I would have without some certain people that are just like, you got this, you can do this. I don't think that I would have really. For instance, the person I was talking about before in regards to the guy with the cafe, when I first started Pretty Sweet, he just said, if you haven't got any work, just call me. And he would create jobs. So I could turn up for it ended up being my first 2 weeks or so in business, but he would just create jobs so that I could turn up and have something to do. And after that, we just kind of took off and yeah, it turned into something. So yeah, well, there are people like that, and there's a few other people around that they know who they are that have kind of. I think I just needed the push in the right direction.
Right.
I think all the drive came from me, but I think that it was just that, the pat on the back and you can do this and that's the way you should go is kind of what I needed.
Mm. Oh, really cool.
Mm,
So
yeah,
we've started Pretty Sweet Lighting. Is it just yourself and an idea? Like, what
yeah.
did it
So
begin with?
it was me in a van, and that was it. I was going to take on some electrical work just to kind of tick things through, and I really wanted to kind of get down the lighting route. But always being an electrician by trade, it's easy money, not easy money, but it was just something that I knew, and people would always employ me for because I was relatively good at it. So the electrical business never really died off. We called the company Pretty Sweet Lighting, and that's what it's registered as, and it was like it's just going to be lighting, but it was really hard to forge a name in the lighting world without any kind of backing or just being a Joe Blogs off the street. So it did take a lot of years, and it has taken a lot of years to kind of get the kind of respect, like win awards and things like that for some of our designs. And so then the electrical business kind of became a bit more of a driving force financially to do this. So it was me, and it ended up being quite a lot of electrical, but pushing for houses that people were willing to kind of push the boundaries out a little bit more, not just trusting someone a little bit more to not just do what 100 downlights in here and da 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 da. So I was looking for people that were interested in that. Lucky enough, Wanaka's a small town, and word of mouth kind of gets around. So it's the boulder started turning, and all of a sudden it turns into an avalanche. And yeah, so it was just me, but not long after, I think I may have almost been a year in before I got my first employee, and that was one of my best friends who was a chef at the time, living out of New Zealand, but we were best friends before he moved away, and he wasn't really enjoying his job and really wanted to come back to Wanaka. But at the time, if you were living in Wanaka, you kind of needed a good wage to kind of cover you, and he couldn't see a future in what he was doing. So I was like, well, you can come over, I'll give you a job. I don't know how long it will last, but if you turn up, you'll have a job tomorrow. And he did. And that was, 11 years ago.
So you've got employee number one. He
Yep.
was your mate. So you've said, hey, you can work, but I'll kick you out if I don't have work. I
Yeah.
guess it was an easy inroad. But
Yeah, I never promised them. I said, I'll try my best. I said, all I can do is try my best. I don't know where this will lead. I said, all I can do is say that, you've got work today.
So employee number two, like, who
that would
came
have been
along then, and
that would have
how
been
did it grow? Yeah.
Would have been 6 months later, I reckon. And it was another one of my best friends who was kind of going through the same thing, wanted to change, and kind of reached as far as he could in the position that he was in, and was like wanted another skill. And so these guys are all starting apprenticeships, so they'd never been in the electrical trade before, and they wanted to learn a new trade and wanted to be skilled up so they can have a certificate behind their names. And so it was another one of my best friends, and he was looking to make a change. And I said the same thing to him. His partner was a little bit dubious, and she even didn't think that he'd get a contract. And the day that he did, she was like, well, he's kind of got something together. So we actually, I had some contracts and things written up, and but it wasn't just a handshake and the second employee, I was a bit more reined in, and so my second best mate come work for me, and both of those guys are still with me now.
Wow. So that was actually going to be my next question, in terms of like working with family, working with friends can cause some issues. So I was going to ask, are you actually still friends with these guys?
100%. We hang out most weekends, and it's everyone said to me, don't get in business with friends or family. I tend to maybe I've just got some really good friends. I tend to disagree in a way. Like we have our disagreements at work, but they stay at work, and they know me, I know them. If something's up, we pick up on it pretty much straight away, and we've got each other's backs, and it's pretty good actually. Like I would 100% do it again. It's got to be the right people. Tom, my first employee now, is like projects manager of my business, and Phil's gone on to another stage of like automation. He's got right into that, which we're trying to create a job for him in that, and not a job, but a position where he can forge his own way. And I never really started this just for me. Like once they got involved, it was a bit of an us thing. So
I love that. And look, I got to say, look, I've seen so many business partnerships, people working for each other who are friends and family, and they have had problems. In saying that, like yourself, through the years, I have had my mum as an office manager for one of the businesses. My sister was an executive assistant for me as well.
Oh wow!
And it was right. Great. I've also been in business partnership with family, and we had our battles, but one of the biggest things that it brought was that trust. And I think if you have that trust, and as long as you can leave work at work, and you know, family,
Yeah,
the issues, as long as they're separated, I think it's fine. But it is hard to do.
yeah. I haven't found any hardships in it yet. Um, I've always been an open book with them, and I hope they are with me. There's nothing hidden, nothing. If something's up, something's up. I'll tell them straight away. If work's getting thin, which it hasn't for a long time, but it has over the period of the business, I'll be straight up with them, and they're straight up with me. But yeah, so far so good.
Okay.
Let's see what the next 12 years does.
So you've currently got a team of, what was it, about 11 right now?
Oh no, so I think myself included, we're 9.
Okay. So
Yeah.
team of 9 right now. How would you describe your leadership as a boss?
Ooh, I would describe it differently to what they would describe it.
How would
No,
they describe it?
I'd hope that it's. Oh, yeah, I'd hope that it's kind of firm but fair. I guess, like, it's got to be my business. It can't be, and same with my 2 best friends. It's like, end of the day, the buck does stop with me, and the money stops with me. So I've got to kind of be the boss a little bit. I can always take on their advice, but I've got to make the big decisions, and I've got to kind of lead the business where I think it's going to be. And so sometimes, like, I've got to kind of be firm, but I'll always hear people out on their ideas and whatever they do. We've got a pretty good culture, I think. I'd hope that they would think that I'm a good boss who listens, and well, yeah, that's what I
Hey,
hope.
look, listen, like the mere fact that you've had employers that have stayed with you for so long,
Yeah,
actually says something. So
yeah,
take that
totally.
out of it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks, man.
So owning a business can be really tough. However, it does give you freedom. What have the freedoms allowed you to do? Like, have you got passions or things that you get up to?
Yeah, so I guess that my 2 best friends and I are all big skateboarders,
Mm-hmm.
and so we. I don't know if the businesses help, but it's kind of like our our Christmas breaks and things like that, or our holiday. I don't know what I'm trying to say. The Christmas parties and that were always skate and snowboard orientated, and things like that. What has the business been able to give to me? Are you asking in
Well,
regards?
what do you think you've been able to achieve what you have without owning a business? Because you could have taken a
No,
different path and just worked for someone else.
I don't believe so. No, there's like, even though it's really hard work, there are some perks that come with a business. You can. It does take a long time treading not water, but just to kind of get that bit of a backing. Like, you win some, you lose some. It kind of rolls along. But once you get your business to a really good spot, there are certain things that the business can give to you. Like, yeah, for instance, I got taken to Stewart Island the other week for free by an electrical company, and it's all these little perks that you kind of get along the way. Without what the business brings to the table, I wouldn't be able to just buy the commercial building that we've just signed up for. You know, yeah, it's given me perks in my life where when things are good, the boss can kind of take Friday off to go up Cadrona. And if I really want to, I can take some of the crew with me. And like we did on Friday, I knocked them all off, paid them all for the day, and took them all snowboarding. And
I think
yeah,
I know why they want to work for you.
yeah, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, yeah, we do that. We try to do that at least once a year, just with the snowboarding thing. But then we'll also kind of do a summer thing, and hopefully that does let them know that I do care and I want to hang out with them, because they are a good bunch of people.
Mhm.
So
Have there been moments where you've employed people where they haven't been the right fit ever?
yeah, we won't mention any names or anything like that. But there definitely has been people that just didn't fit. And in the regards to not fitting, I had a person that worked for me for about 280 days, and I think he turned up for 120.
Oh,
Um, and yeah, there was couple of a couple of things that went down during that time that was very hard to deal with, and sleepless nights, like a lot of sleepless nights dealing with an individual. um and that it's kind of hard to talk about because you don't like talking about that side of your business a little bit. Like, it's, staff are the people that you should love and you should care for. You're creating them a lifestyle out of, because they're probably with you more than they're with their family. So that's the way I see it. So I do like to create my own little family that these guys can kind of come to work and enjoy the people they're with, and not feel as though it's always going to be a job no matter what you do. But hopefully there's a bit more community there. And when you do have a squeaky wheel, it kind of causes a bit of grief. It hurts. I guess it hurts like when a family member hurts you or something like that. It's not a comfortable thing to really go through. It's not a comfortable thing to talk about later. It kind of really sucks. It's a hard time when you've got someone that's not really performing, and you can give and give and give, and they just take and take and take, and it sometimes has to get to a point where it doesn't work. And yeah, I've definitely been there. Not many times, fortunately. So I'm super, super lucky. I don't really go through staff. I more keep staff and we keep growing. But yeah, I've had one, or I think just one.
okay. Well, look, I
So
totally get that it's really hard to talk about it, but I appreciate you do, because all those things within business that, hey, we all love to talk about the great stuff, but some of the bad stuff is hidden away.
yeah,
I kind of
yeah,
believe
true
that
that.
other business owners like need to share this stuff though, because it'll help other people knowing that, hey, there are challenges, they're real. We all go through it, and this is how I best navigated it. So you can hopefully navigate it through as well. Yeah.
I get it's kind of the management of that person is what's kind of the hard thing. Like, you've really got to see what's going on really with them, and then kind of try and hone down on what's causing these issues. For instance, this person said they had hurt their hands with a pair of pliers, and took, I think, 16 weeks off, but were playing golf every day. And I had a bit of a battle with the ACC about it, being like, how, like, I've got the results of the golf game that he played because he's recording it, and how is this a possible thing? Like, and they're like, well, the doctors are saying that he can't use his tools, but he can play golf. And for me, that was kind of frustrating.
Mm.
I don't know how much of that we're allowed to talk about, but
No
yeah,
names, no names.
yeah, no name. So yeah, and yeah, it's a rough time and stuff, because you want everyone to get along, and when things aren't going right, it's turmoil.
Well,
So
let's flip it around. And if you can think back of some of the highlights that you've had in your business during this growth that you have you,
yep,
like, did you feel different stages along your business?
yeah, 100%. And it's the yeah, I guess once when I got my first two guys qualified, the first guys that kind of signed up with me, and I thought we're kind of going to stop there, and then because they're such amazing workers and people, we just kept getting more and more work, and then we had to employ more people, and then that's just another level as well. I'm just like, well, this is really kind of taking off, and then these guys are managing people just like I manage them, and it was like, well, this is kind of an ongoing thing here. I think, like, it's going to keep going, and that was a bit of a game changer, and like moving into a space like having our own office where people can come in and we can show them all our design ideas on on a monitor in front of them and kind of work through things. That was another level. It's like we started off in a bedroom in my house, and yeah, we've so there are a couple of milestones, and yeah, I guess like winning the bronze award for the lighting design for the master electricians. It just proved again that we're kind of doing the right thing, and we're up against like multi-million-dollar projects, and we just put a house in it we thought was cool, but it was so off the cuff, and we did the design completely ourselves. And I don't know many electricians out there that would be saying this is 100% our lighting design. We got no help. We did it ourselves. Everything was done by us. And people had to take their hats off to that because it's just not being done. And even it was just a really off the cuff project. It was a cool project. And yeah, we come third up against like the Pullman Hotel, which is, probably just lighting alone would be, $6 million worth of light fixtures and that. And yeah, that was a really next level kind of step. And just getting some of the houses that we're working in, like when you finish them and you're just like the beautiful, beautiful homes, and and then the homeowner's just so excited to walk in, and they give you a call and be like, "Bring the staff around. Let's have some cheese and crackers tonight, and you guys got to experience it." And that's pretty cool, And we didn't know these people before we started with them, and yeah, and it gets more and more of that, and just seeing my staff, like there's a lot of guys I've trained, and just seeing them become the tradesmen they are and then hearing the comments that other businesses say to me is pretty mind blowing. That's a real cool part of it. And yeah, we just got some really good news with some contracts just last week that is kind of next level stuff, and it's you're just sitting there going, how the did we get here?
The work that you do, just so I guess others understand out there, you've got your architects, if we're talking about any kind of project. Where does the lighting side fit in with the architectural work?
Well, it's about knowing how the structure's gonna. You've got to know a lot about architecture, and especially like we don't deal. So we're just architectural homes, I guess. So it's like after so long of dealing with them, looking at plans, I probably see 10 sets of plans a week, and it takes a long time to kind of get that gist of from paper how it's actually going to look in reality, and just knowing your products really well and how the lights actually work. We've got a light room in behind me here that we test fittings, and we actually really see how they work, and we try them in scenarios before we try them out on people's homes. And it's finding the features, but the hardest part is I don't think it's the architecture. It's not anything like that. It's because it's not my home. It's someone else's home. It's getting their ideas out of them and making them reality. That's the hardest part. And the way you've got to word that to the client and find the features of their home that they really like. And it may not be the architectural features. It could be something completely different. And that's the hardest part is like saying, like, this is your house. What would you like to see? And, here's some ideas. And the funniest part of that is that not many people can work from 2D. Like, you'll give them all these cool ideas, and they can only really figure it out when they're standing in the structure and like the walls are built and everything's built. And that's when their ideas or my ideas start coming to their fruition, or, then they change a little bit. They're like, actually, I really like this. Let's do something over here. And that's when the penny really drops. But yeah, the hard part is not trying to do what I love, is trying to do what they want. That's the hard part.
How has as a business owner, how has your role changed from the beginning to where you're at now? Because I guess in the beginning, like, you wear all the hats, you do everything. But how's that evolved during the different growth phases and as your team's been built?
Yeah, well, so yeah, at the start, it was me. There wasn't as much admin, to be honest. So we were, the invoicing was very minimal and just two guys. And we've always used the same kind of system to run our business, which I was super lucky that I jumped on that really early. I was one of the first people in the South Island to run with this system, and everyone was paper-based back then. And we kind of jumped onto a digital system well before anyone else, and that really projected my business a lot more especially once that started growing. But at the start, it was me kind of doing everything, but I didn't know what I was doing. So it was a bit of running around, just trying to get work and get jobs done. And then it kind of grew into kind of like, okay, now I've got some employees that need work every day. So my job has now become, I got to go find the work. And then once I've found the work, then I have to kind of manage that into the team to make it work, and then still be on site, kind of manhandling everything, being like, this is what we have to do here, this is what we have to do there. And then from that came systems creating, where I try to relay as much as my information that's in my head onto paper for the boys to kind of see and look at, so I didn't have to be there all the time. And Mitchell, you've helped a lot with this, especially in the last few months with growing that system, which is, I think, the best part of my business. And then the office gets so busy because you're running so many jobs that you've got to get someone to help you out in the admin, and then you've got to get an office. And yeah, so then I've eventually stepped up someone into like a management role in my electrical department, and they're handling all the scheduling, which I was doing all that. And then gradually, it's like a cake. It gets bigger and bigger, I guess. You just kind of start off with a base, and then once you got that base solid, you try and build another, and then build another, and then build another, and all these bases are kind of different hats kind of getting lost, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a good analogy. But
are you still doing that is the question. Like, okay, we're at the year 13, was it the birthday? 13th birthday?
12th, I think.
12th
Yeah, I
birthday?
think it's the 12th.
Okay,
Yeah, yep.
so are you still layering the cake, as you
I'm,
call it?
I've probably put the hammer on the layers since we've started chatting. Really trying to nail that in. There was smaller layers, I guess, but since I've been starting to listen to your magical words, man, and listen and dialing into what you say, which I really appreciate, is is really honing that stuff in, but not just me honing in, is my staff honing it in and owning what they do, not just me hoping that they do. But then sometimes things can fall over a little bit, like they have recently, and you've got to throw all the hats on again, just for a little while though, because in business things go pear shaped, and here's the bottom line: it's like you carry the cup. When someone doesn't turn up, it's either the job doesn't get done, or you jump in and do it. And I think most business owners would be like that. Like, it's either you don't want to let people down, and you don't want to not get something done. So when things go a little bit pear-shaped, we've had a lot of problems lately in the business. Not problems, but just a lot of injuries, because we live in Wanaka and everyone skates and snowboards. There just seems to be a lot going on lately. It's been since November. We've been 2 men down, I think. And, then this kind of whole system building thing kind of has to take a little bit of a break. You just got to get shit done. And it kind of really sucks. But, and then sometimes you just got to wear another hat for a bit. But that once this problem's over, your system is there, that once that person's back, everybody's back on board, and you're kind of good again. I guess what I haven't done is maybe the non-management guys maybe haven't got ways of covering each other, and maybe that's our next step.
Yeah.
So, and it is extremely hard at the moment to get people here, like to get employees. So if someone does kind of fall over for 6 months, to get someone in can take 3 months. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that. Sorry, I'll take your little chin wags and I detour. I'm sorry, brother.
Oh, no worries. But I'm doing the same thing, and I kind of see thinking here that you've taken this steady growth all the way through. I'm really wondering, from your point of view, well, first of all, there's plenty of businesses that we know don't make it to that length of time in business, and we also know that there are plenty of tradespeople and all the rest that haven't grown. Some because they don't want to, and that's fair enough, but others that do try and actually haven't. Why do you think it is that you've been able to grow? Has it been your drive solely? Has it been, I'm hearing, you put customers first? Like, what do you... Is it because you've just really honed in on your team and put them first and brought them into the business? What do you think are the things that you've put together to be in the position where you are now?
I think there's two things there. I think it's having the right staff is a major contender, but also having quality, like having the quality and repeating that quality time and time again. Like, we don't like to drop the ball. We always try and rinse and repeat a high standard of work. And I think that gets us a lot of work where people know what they're going to get, and they're not going to get a second rate job done. And we have a very good name in town, and I kind of want to keep it that way. Um, I think that's what's kind of gone from spawn to spawn. It's like we went in, we started off small, and we kind of just tiered up, and we really honed in on the small things being done right. And then if you do the small things right, the big things should just fall into place most of the time. I think those are the two things that really projected my business, and not trying to go thunderbolt with it. I was like, okay, let's not slow and steady wins the race, but I didn't go, okay, I'm getting 10 staff tomorrow. It was like, okay, I'm kind of at a point now where everybody's getting a little bit pushed too hard. Let's grab someone else, but it's got to be the right person, and then throw that person in and just gradually stepping the team up instead of just going out, buying 10 vans, getting in a whole bunch of debt, and then trying to employ people. It's a gradual incline. Yeah, but the standard and the staff are my two major qualities, I reckon.
And once again, I reckon, just shout out once more the fact that you've kept that staff like for so long, like really says something. And the fact that I'm hearing that you're bringing them in, I heard you say before that one of your team members, you're like letting them create their own job position to really level up. So it really comes through as to what you're saying is to, staff is one of the number one things. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. That's, in my mind, it is 100%. And especially your key guys, like the guys that are really kind of, down for the cause and really want to and be there with you. Like, look after those people, because they're the ones that have your back, and they're the ones that are going to be there. And my guys don't ask for anything ever, but if they're given something, they really like it. Like my two main guys, again, they've never asked for a pay rise, but they've always got one when they deserve one, kind of deal. And I'm not trying to blow smoke up my own ass or anything like that, but it's just that kind of relationship. They want to succeed, and so do I, and it kind of works. So it is good. I think the crew make it.
Now, I also heard before, keep my ears open, that you've recently purchased a commercial building.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that's going to be the next level up. So we're in 12 years now. What does the next 10 years look like in your mind for Pretty Sweet Lighting?
Well, I think it's about, I don't want the company to grow too much bigger, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I just want to hone in on the work that we do and do really creative stuff. I really, really want to push the lighting side of the business and be really well known for doing lighting design across New Zealand and coming up with cool ideas and kind of being the go-to people for it. That's a really big ambition of mine. With Pretty Sweet, I think I want to tier some management into it. I think we're branching off a slight bit. I probably won't talk about that too much now. We're starting a new part of the business, which I was kind of just touching on before. But, so kind of have a couple of tiers where I kind of just oversee from the top, and hopefully get some holidays.
It's a must.
Yeah, it's a must. It's a must. Yeah, it's a must. I think keep it the same, but just do the highest of the highest quality work for the highest of the highest quality clients is where we want to be. Yeah. And
carry on.
And in 10 years' time, I would like to be 3 days a week, maximum, sorry. And yeah.
What's the rest of the time spent on the mountain?
I think so, yeah. All the skate ramps I've built down the road, trying to be an old skateboarder.
Hey, what is success to you? What's it look like?
Oh, man.
And have you achieved it?
Success to me, I'd say I've achieved it. I think success is what you see it as a little bit. Like, I feel pretty successful in regards to kind of moving to I'm an Aussie, moved to a foreign country all by myself and started a business. Now I employ like 8 people, and we're doing pretty well. And I didn't move here with much money at all, and I've got to be proud of that. And success, I guess, isn't like having such successful people work for you who respect you. Like that's a pretty, I think that's pretty successful. So yeah, I think that's what it looks like to me. I don't know what the overall meaning of success is, but as long as you've got a smile on your face and you're proud of yourself, that's it, you're done.
And I love that, and I congratulate you that you do have a smile on your face, and you do actually take it and own it. And I don't think I knew you were an Aussie though.
I am, yeah. I moved here, I reckon, it's got to be 18 years ago now. Yeah, that's why I'm so goddamn good looking.
Right, who do you support in the old rugby or sport?
Oh, sports. I'm not much. Yeah, I say skateboarding.
Okay.
I don't really. Never really been a team sports guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it is kind of a hard chin wag on the job sites because everyone's talking about the game, but that's kind of the culture of my business as well. Like we for a while there, we only employed skateboarders. And we only employ mountain people, and it is a little bit of a culture because we were all in the same mindset. And it's
culture that you've built, and that's the culture of the quality, the culture of the team, having everyone's back. So I would say that you've attracted that, and that's what you've made. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah,
100%.
That's really awesome. Hey, Wayne, it's been a real pleasure speaking to you today. I love your journey, where you're at. The business is doing great things, and some of the projects you do are absolutely amazing. So
check out the website.
Check out the website, prettysweetlighting.co.nz. Are we talking about?
Sweet slips.
Okay, so in saying that, you're mentioning you've got a different, another business as well.
Yeah, we've got a company called Sweet Slips. It's a reusable work boot cover that you'd kind of say if I was to come to your house and walk in to fix your hot water cylinder, instead of taking my boots off, which defeats the health and safety factor of the job, I slide these things on that I can throw in the wash when I take them home. They're made from neoprene with a rubber sole. And we kind of created them for our business and then kind of growing into something else, but it's taken a bit of a backpedal at the moment. I've actually sold more in the last month and a half than I have in a while, and I haven't been putting any effort into it because things have been pretty hectic. But yeah, Sweet Slips, it's yet to come. It's yet to come big time. But check out that website because there are some hilarious ads on there.
And the website is, just to confirm?
Sweetslips.co.nz. You've got to go look in the blogs. There's some of the old school ads that we did, and we actually got a little bit of trouble because it was meant to be a health and safety product, and we took the mickey a little bit too much, I think. But check them out there.
Check it out now. If you're listening, go to sweetslips.co.nz. Check out those little booties for your business.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. That is it. This was Let's Talk Small Business, and it was pretty sweet lighting today. Love it. Cheers, Wayne.
Cheers, Mitchell. You're a legend, man. Thank you so much.
Let's Talk Small Business. I appreciate you tuning in. If you got value, hit subscribe, like, or drop a comment. It spreads the word and might just help another legend get their breakthrough.